is etched on the face of Boston's Scott Wedman. But it's the Milwaukee Bucks who are suffering in this Eastern Conference final. Yesterday, the Bucks declared war on the men in green. But the Celtics kept scrambling and battling back, and as a result, they need to survive just one more battle for a date in the NBA Final. The Milwaukee Bucks have toiled with pride and dignity. They've exerted 100% of the energy their battered bodies would allow. But against Larry Bird's Celtics, 100% is not enough. How do you counter a team that performs magic from the blind side or the hind side? No team has the answer. Just ask Don Nelson. Three years ago, the Milwaukee fans joyfully anticipated a sweep of Boston. But today, their hometown heroes will try to spoil Boston's victory party. From the Mecca in Milwaukee, Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Final, the Celtics and the Bucks. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Brett Musburger along with Billy Cunningham. And Billy, will this be the last dance for the Bucks? Can they hold off the Celtics?
Well, number one, the Bucks must come out and maintain that intensity for 48 minutes, not like yesterday, 3 periods. The Celtics, we're going to have to see what kind of attitude they come out to start this ball game with.
Now, Larry Bird said in Game 4 down in Atlanta he wasn't mentally ready for that one, and they lost. What about here in Milwaukee? What'd you detect with Bird?
Well, just looking and warming up, he's ready to go today, so I think it could be a long day for the Bucks.
All right, the Boston Celtics, one victory away from a sweep and another date in the NBA Final. Action starts in a moment. He slam dunked that one guy. It's about time.
What do you want? Here. Why don't you just ask?
Here's the Chiron. Let me see the Chiron. Yeah. Bring down the roof. I certainly want to use it. You tell me when. When's the earliest we can use it? First dead ball, let's get rid of it. Then that frees you up some equipment. Come on, fans.
At 4.
Good. So we'll use the lineups, the referees, and if they're not ready to play. You got it. A day of pride for the Milwaukee Bucks. They'll try to hold off these Boston Celtics here today. And there's the starting 5. McHale, Bird, Parrish, Ainge, and Johnson against Pressey, Cummings, Brewer, Hodges, and Moncrief. The referees for this 4th game. Rush and Crawford will work, and Holland sits across the way. Larry Bird, what more can be said? I hope you were watching yesterday when Bird went diving to the floor. Don Nelson described this play as the biggest of the game. It was close at the time. Bird simply threw his body on the floor, reckless abandon, and Billy, he sealed up Mokeski, grabbed the ball, hit McHale. Where does Bird stand in your ratings of all the forwards who played in the NBA?
Most complete forward to ever play professional basketball.
Spoken by one who was pretty good himself, Billy Cunningham. The Bucks control it. Pressey brings it down. Slick passing forward. At the top is Hodges, and this is Moncrief playing on 2 injured legs. Hits the game's first field goal.
Brent, I thought in the fourth period yesterday, Sidney's foot really acted up on him. He just couldn't plant and explode either for the jump shot or going to the basket.
Bird just hit him with a screen. Then gets it back to McHale coming through, and Bird's first assist of the game is a beautiful thing.
The people of Boston have been spoiled by the play of the Boston Celtics, the way they move the basketball.
Hodges bangs it in, and these two teams are 3 for 3 on this Sunday. Well, I wonder if they're underway down in Houston.
Well, I'm sure we'll be kept up to date by the truck.
Hale has it knocked away. First turnover of the game. Cummings gives to Moncrief. Moncrief penetrates.
Now, yesterday, first period, Sidney Moncrief came out. Larry Bird matched up against him defensively and was able to score 19 points.
We get word that they have just tipped off. Houston leading the Lakers 2-1, and we'll keep you up to date and flash that score throughout the afternoon. Bird. High arching shot is short. Milwaukee goes for the rebound. This is similar to the way we started yesterday. And the Celtics were like a skunk, according to McHale. They stayed in the neighborhood. Pressey passed up the shot. Cummings wants it, and low on McHale. Cummings' favorite spot is in that lane. Parrish has it knocked free by Brewer. Boston's ball.
You know, Brent, looking at the game yesterday, the Milwaukee Bucks did just about everything possible. They hold the Celtics to 46% from the field. The guard shoots 6 for 27. I don't know what you can do to beat them.
Johnson missing. Cummings looking for the easy outlet, but Bird had sealed up a transition basket opportunity. Moncrief forced to give it up. Here's Johnson. Johnson splits the defense. Goes tumbling past the basket support in between a cameraman back there, but he's fine. Hustles back on defense. A quick start to this fourth game with the Celtics needing one more to get to the final. It would have counted. A foul. McHale jumped out and commits his first.
Well, there's an example defensively. When you recover out to a person on the court, you should be under control and not leave your feet. That's what Kevin McHale did, and Moncrief was able to draw the foul.
How about McHale asking us which satellite CBS was carrying the Houston Laker game? He had a friend back home who wanted to watch that one. What kind of loyalty is that?
I know. You think he has the feeling this series is over?
What? (8-4). Bucks lead the Celtics. K.C. Jones standing in the background. Now he sits down. Parrish is all alone.
You know, just great execution. Milwaukee did just about everything correct defensively, but that great ball movement of the Celtics.
McHale and Pressey exchange blows on the left side of the basket.
Now we'll watch the screen by Pressey. That was a moving screen. Pressey had never gotten his feet set to set that screen on McHale.
But they caught the second man always in that situation, and McHale has 2 personal fouls. A three-pointer by Moncrief misses. McHale hands to Johnson. Johnson, great move.
Well, what we see is Dennis Johnson not having the confidence right now, I think, with his jump shot, doing something a smart player does, getting the ball, going to the basket.
Hodges, McHale rebounding. Here's Ainge. Three-pointer, Cummings rebounds, and again the Celtics are not giving up that transition basket. Johnson was back quickly, and the Bucks are looking for the easy hoop in this game. Pressey, Bird rebounding. Ainge penetrates, and it's taken away by Hodges. Knocked free, but there's Pressey. It's 4-on-1. Only Bird is back. And Bird fouled Pressey, who went in all alone, 1-on-1. Should he have passed that ball, Billy
Absolutely.
C?
Number one, Paul Pressey should have pulled up either at the foul line or a step inside the lane area and dished off to one of his teammates. Larry Bird just dictated what he should do defensively, what he should do offensively, and almost got away with forcing a missed shot and getting a rebound. In that case, it would have been a 4-on-1 at the other end, and the Celtics would have been able to convert.
Pressey played college basketball at Tulsa. One of those unsung starters in the NBA. Led forwards and assists this season. Has given the Bucks a lead here at the 8-minute mark. Bucks lead it by 2. Lakers and Houston deadlocked there. Johnson was not even thinking of going for it, waiting for the pass. There's Bird off the pump fake inside of Lister, who is checked in for the Bucks. Johnson with a good fake. Missed it, and there was pushing underneath. It'll go over to Milwaukee. The foul is against Parrish, his first. Lister, the first substitution by Coach Nelson for Milwaukee. Brewer sitting down. Jones sticking with his starting 5 for the time being. Pressey. That's a 4-point Milwaukee lead.
That play was created by Sidney Moncrief's penetration and found Pressey for the jump shot. Now right now we have Celtics with
Bird just leveled Pressey underneath. He threw a left shoulder into him. Pressey was leaning on Bird, and Larry retaliated, and again it was the second man who was caught with that personal foul. He's a tough hombre, folks, make no mistake about it.
Well,
he's a superstar, and you don't pick on Bird. Moncrief coming in, tapped in by Pressey's left hand.
There again, we see that penetration. Last time for the open jump shot for Pressey, the missed shot, and he was able to tip it in.
Timeout, Boston. Now watch it, the left-hand side of your screen. Here's Pressey with contact, and Bird delivers the blow, and he levels it. The message has been delivered. It's 14-8. We'll be right back in Milwaukee. A little graduation in basketball here in the Mecca. You would never know. By the looks of the building right now, not a seat to be had here. Johnson into Bird. 14-8. Billy, what are the Bucks doing defensively here as Bird hits that field goal?
Well, right there with Larry Bird posted up, they try to just stay man-to-man, not look to give too much help to Pressey, because they know if they turn their head a double, Larry Bird is going to find someone open for an easy shot.
All 4 fouls so far in this game against the Celtics. In and out by Hodges. The Bucks with a second chance. Lister controlling. Hodges back to Cummings. He didn't expect the pass, but Pressey was back. Moncrief off of Bird short. Johnson rebounds for the Celtics.
That was a foul on Larry Bird. He put that shoulder out when Moncrief had him committed defensively.
Easy one by Parrish. Hodges reached in and committed the personal. The first foul against the Milwaukee Bucks here this afternoon.
Now, offensively, with having a team in the penalty, what you'd like to do is either go into a post-up player, look to draw the foul, and also going to the basket, looking for that penetration, which we'll see from the Milwaukee Ball Club.
Here's Parrish. Foul by Cummings.
Now there's a matchup that the Celtics feel they have a big advantage. They feel with Cummings playing Parrish, they can get the ball inside to him. But when you look at the Celtics, you know, Casey Jones has a tough decision to who is he going to go to offensively. When you have a guy like Kevin McHale over there, or Robert Parrish or Bird, tough decisions.
Well, Nelly looking calm here today. He's had so many of his friends tell him he's getting too anxious during the Philadelphia 76er war and take it easy, put on weight.
Well, he felt in this series a little different than in Philadelphia, that he had to be more positive towards his players and not, you know, criticize them on some of their play.
He won't criticize Cummings on that shot. 16-12 at the 5:46 mark, opening period. McHale backing in on Lister, no shot. Foul came before that, and Lister's first. And Nelson unhappy with the call.
Well, that's a set play for the Celtics. When they play against them, Brent, first thing after a made field goal, they're going to push the ball and look to post up McHale every opportunity they have.
McHale over Lister.
And that's why.
Bucks lead it by 2, and the Lakers are up by 4 down in Houston. Cummings on the drive.
Well, that was something that gave the Celtics a problem yesterday, that penetration, but they were able to shut it down in the 4th period.
Ainge, the only Celtic not yet on the scoreboard.
Here's where they have to convert on the break.
Traveling, goes over to Boston. Meanwhile, Billy, the Bucks centers have not scored. That is a problem spot for Nelson. You talked about a defensive matchup. It's hard for Cummings against Parrish, and they're not getting much offensive help out of their centers either.
So I think Lister can contribute defensively, blocking shots and rebounding as much as offensively.
McHale came up over him that time.
Well, when you play McHale and you play him straight up, Brent, you're not going to stop him. You must have some adjustment defensively, either doubling down, doing something, or in this case, maybe forced to get the ball and get that 3rd foul on him.
Parrish committed that personal foul. He muscled in to Pressey underneath the basket. And that's 2 on Parrish, 2 on Bird, and 2 on McHale.
Right.
Pierce
at the line
off the bench.
Yesterday, Ricky Pierce, that shoulder was definitely a factor. Brent, we saw him when he had opportunities to shoot that perimeter shot. He passed those up to go to the basket.
Walton reports in, and Parrish sits for KC. Pierce replaces Moncrief. Moncrief played 23 minutes in the first half yesterday.
Last year at this time, KC Jones had a situation with his 3 frontliners in foul trouble. Now the Celtics, you had them where you wanted them. With the addition of Bill Walton, you know, in some cases, it's almost a negative thing for you.
Johnson stays with it. Cummings taking Walton. Doubles on Bird. Try to get it to Walton. Pressey is out. Hodges to Lister.
Looked very similar to the play yesterday with Lister in the 4th quarter going to the basket, but he missed that shot.
Now, Scott Wedman is not here today with the Celtics. He suffered 2 broken ribs yesterday. Bird, coming in on Pressey, was fouled. Wedman returned home early this morning. It is doubtful that he'll be able to play even in the championship series. What it also means here today, according to Coach Jones, is that Walton will get more playing time in the rotation because Wedman is out, and KC will miss Wedman with that front line picking up early fouls. McHale with a hand problem, and the crowd yelling for a technical foul on Coach Jones, who is talking to Rush. Rush telling him to settle down there on the side.
Well, what happens every time there's a foul shot, Brent? Kevin McHale will go to the ball boy underneath the basket and dry off his hands. And I guess that Ed Rush felt that he was taking too much time and warned him against with a delay of the game call.
Lister again.
I'll tell you, Alton Lister has played 2 exceptional games, and it looked like he's on his way to a 3rd.
Well, he gave us the Kareem look. Now Cummings wants inside Bird.
That was a great individual move by Terry Cummings. Now
McHale collides with Lister, and Walton steps in, and now McHale pushes Lister away. Tempers flaring as Lister and McHale hit each other. Watch Lister and McHale with a gentle shove, and now Lister with the elbow.
Well,
Crawford steps in.
Well, Brent, I don't think that's fair right there. Now, we can see right there, Kevin McHale came down and did push, and we have another situation where the second foul is being called. And also,
now they're calling the technical on both of them.
Oh.
That's what they've done.
Oh, technical.
They've called a double technical here. Meanwhile, McHale goes for the towel. Well, Lister has been assessed his second personal foul. Lister gets his second. Technical on both. McHale at the line.
Alton Lister has a reputation of getting in foul trouble, and I think that's a case where the official picked on him a little bit.
Passions running high as the Bucks attempt to stay alive.
Well, we saw Walton right there when that foul shot went up, even shoved Lister. So it's important that these officials call it close now so we don't have any problems with any violence.
Pierce gives it up. And it's banged in by Pressey. With 2:45 opening period. Pressey with 9 points. Bird wanted Walton off his hands on the turnover. 2-on-2. Behind his back to Cummings. Great pass and a move by Terry Cummings. Celtics come back. Intercepted Pressey. Pressey to Cummings again, and this time he is fouled, coming through Walton and Johnson. It's on Walton. Well, that was obvious on Johnson. No doubt about who that foul was on. It's on Dennis Johnson. We'll be right back. In Houston, the Rockets lead the Lakers by 4. Rockets lead in that series 2-1. Game 5 will be back in the Forum Wednesday night, 11:30 Eastern and Pacific time here on CBS. McHale, bothered by Stickham, still can't get his hands clean. What's fascinating about Stickham is that Coach Don Nelson is one of the reasons why they started to enforce the no Stickham rule. Billy C. he used to keep it underneath that wristband when he played for Red Auerbach.
Well, you know, another point is Don Nelson told us he might do something a little tricky out here, something no one's ever seen before. This might be his secret weapon.
28-19 at 2:25 opening period. How would you compare Milwaukee's start with yesterday in Game 3?
I see a looser team out there. A team just playing, said, hey, let's go out and have some fun. We'll play our hearts out, and let's try and win one of these games.
On the other side, Billy, how about the Celtics here in the early going?
Oh, I think they've come ready to play. I see a lot more intensity just by the physical play.
Look at that left-handed drive by Bird. What can't he do on a basketball floor?
I think if there's one thing you'd like to do and you try to exploit is isolating him one-on-one defensively, like we saw yesterday with Moncrief in the first period and possibly with Pressey today.
Cummings bothered by Bird jumping out defensively. Ainge still not on the scoreboard for the Celtics. Great pass to Walton, who missed the shot.
I think Pressey got a piece of that shot.
And at the other end, Pressey missed. Bird rebounding. Celts are down by 7, 126. Remember yesterday they trailed by 13. McHale.
Lister will need help inside against McHale because he has 2 fouls and he doesn't want to pick up that third at this point. And McHale knows that. He's such a smart basketball player. He's going to look to attack him. He's not going to settle for that jump shot.
Pressey. McHale rebounds. We get word that Olajuwon has exploded for 16 points for Houston in the early going against the Lakers. And yes, James Worthy is playing despite the injury. Great pass by Bird. McHale missed the shot. And again, it is Pressey dribbling out, getting past Johnson. 3-on-3, Cummings. Bird didn't take the pump fake, and so Cummings puts a runner on him. Walton's off.
Reminds me a little bit of yesterday when Walton came out on the court. He just seemed to give that little intensity lift to the Celtic club.
McHale hustling for an offensive rebound, and that's 11 first-period points against Nelson and the Bucks by McHale.
You know, Brent, there was something that McHale just did going to the basket. Did you hear him yell? He came out with a grunt to draw the attention to the official that possibly he was fouled, and you see the smart players doing that.
Milwaukee suddenly gets cold here in the latter stages of the opening period. They've missed 4 shots in a row.
Well, their inconsistency from the perimeter.
No, it won't count. No basket. That is no basket. The 24-second shot clock had expired. No basket. It was waved off by Crawford. The crowd did not hear it. Now they settle back down, but that doesn't count. It's still 28-25, and last 3 seconds, Ainge fires one up. That's the end of the first period. Nelson and the Bucks off to a good start here again. They led yesterday after the first period. 3 to go. We'll be right back in Milwaukee. Back in the Mecca, 28-25, Bucks leading the Celtics and facing elimination from the NBA playoffs. Here is that basket that did not count. The shot clock was running down, and it went off before Hodges could get it up in the air. He was leaning on inside of Walton, and it was a good call. I think you could even see 0 up there on the top of the basket.
You know, the beauty of that play was Bill Walton realizing that Hodges only had a second to get that shot off, and he came over and helped defensively. That's great court awareness.
Let me reset the lineups. Seasting, Ainge, Bird, Walton, and Parrish on the floor to start the second period. Mokeski is taking Walton. And after the miss, Mokeski hands it to Moncrief along with Pierce, Lister, and Pressey.
I think the absence of Mokeski having that knee problem has hurt this ball game.
Well, he comes off that bench and contributes here. A rebound and a running hook shot.
And the reason I say that, Brent, is he is an excellent perimeter shooting, and with the penetration, he'd have a lot of open jump shots.
Ainge gives it to Seasting. And the former Purdue Boilermaker gets his first shot. It's a 3-point lead by the Bucks, who in that opening period shot 44%. The Celtics 50%. Foul down inside, called by referee Rush. And that's the first on Seasting. Seasting faced some heavy contact inside yesterday on picks down low when they were trying to free shooters working the baseline. Walton got over on Pressey. Ainge coming back on Moncrief. Missed the left-handed drive. Here's Pierce playing with the injured left shoulder.
Well, there's a mismatch out there, and they're not finding it.
Whistle sounding.
Now, Brent, the Milwaukee team, they had 2 situations now coming down the court where Bill Walton has switched out on a guard, and they have not capitalized on looking inside and getting that good opportunity shot.
Personals against Ainge. That's his first. Oh, again, the Celtics pick up the early fouls here, just as they did in the opening period. They ran off the first 5 before Milwaukee was assessed 1. Meanwhile, in Houston, 34-31. Figures to be nip and tuck all the way. That's a critical game for the defending champions. They go down 3-1, and it might be good night, Jack Nicholson. Lakers could be flying over the cuckoo's nest if they don't pull that one out, baby. Bird. Ainge goes hard. Pierce and Ainge collide over there. Let's take a look at the contact. You can see on the right-hand side There was no question that Pierce threw a nasty right forearm. Watch the lower right-hand corner. You will see Ainge right behind 22. Here comes the blow. The elbow contacting Ainge. That is a bad personal foul.
That's a bad foul. Danny Ainge pushed him from the rear, but Pierce should not have thrown that elbow.
And they will toss Pierce out of this game. Ainge stepping to the free throw line. We have had several near fights in the opening half of this fourth game, and it was obvious that the referees were going to step in and deliver a stern warning, and that's why they elected to throw Pierce out, who threw a vicious elbow and right arm at Danny Ainge.
Well, I think this is fuel for the Celtics to give them more incentive to win this in 4.
It also hurts the Bucks to lose Pierce. They needed him, and so Glenn comes in off the bench. Walton rebounds his miss. Batted back on the turnover. Here come the Bucks. Pressey rolls one in. A 3-point lead and 11 points by Pressey. Banging in the three-pointer to tie the game at the 9:35 mark.
You know, the thing that's impressed me about Danny Ainge, yesterday he passed up a jump shot. You can see that Casey Jones has told him today is when you get that good shot in the open, you go up and shoot it.
Moncrief in low. Playing on guts here for the 3rd straight game. Moncrief is trying it. Bird's three-pointer. And the Celtics get the lead, 37-36, their first lead here in Game 4. Thank you, Dick. The Boston Celtics with their first lead, 37-36 on Larry Bird's three-pointer. Moncrief coming right back. He drew the foul from Robert Parrish. And in the first period, the Milwaukee Bucks were able to open up a lead, 28-25, and the Celtics have come back. That basket by Don Nelson's Sidney Moncrief gives them the lead at the 8:52 mark. There have been a lot of whistles in this game. Pierce ejected, Parrish with 3 personals, Walton playing a lot in the first half. Let me set the lineups here at the 8:52 mark. Moncrief at the line, Mokeski back out there with Pressey, Glenn, and Cummings for Milwaukee. Against Johnson, Seastain, Ainge, Bird, and McHale. This is a 3-guard attack by the Celtics, who, as the result of that Moncrief 3-point play, are down by 2 points. 8:40 to go, first half. Pat O'Brien due to come along at the half. Bird trying to come by Cummings, and there was a whistle, and that is Cummings' second person.
Well, Terry Cummings has not played Larry Bird during the course of the playoffs. And when you play Larry Bird defensively out on the court, you cannot go for any fake he throws at you. You have to play the middle of his body.
Three-pointer by Ainge. That is 3 third-pointers by the Celtics. 40-39. Bird rebounding. Is able to get position on Mokeski. Ainge on the move. Johnson. Cummings rebounding. Pressey coming in on Bird. Bucks lead it by 1, 8-minute mark. Meanwhile, down in Houston, it's a 7-point Rocket lead as McHale comes back for the Celtics, and he was fouled by Mokeski. Chance for a 3-pointer.
Brent, you never can relax against, a great team like this Celtic ball club. You score at the other end, and bam, they're coming right back at you. And we see Kevin McHale, who gets up and down the court from defense to offense better than anybody in this league that is, over 6'10", 6'11".
Davis checking in, Lister returning along with the Bucks. Hodges also off the bench. Pressey sitting down. 3-pointer. It's 43-41, 2-point Celtic lead.
Now, the lineup what we're seeing now, I think, has a lot to do with the absence of Scott Wedman right now. But I have not seen a Celtic ball club this year play with 3 guards at the one time.
Moncrief couldn't get it to fall. McHale rebounding. Seasting to Johnson. 2 of the guards right there, Billy. Davis fouling Johnson as he starts down the baseline. Davis is just off Nelson's bench. His 3rd year in the NBA. He's out of Cal State Long Beach.
This is awfully scary. If this team has the ability to really beat the Bucks with this type of lineup, right? You know, what do you do? As a coach, you know, this is something that, you know, Casey Jones just does such a great job of utilizing all the talent he has sitting on the bench, and this is another example.
Well, the technical was called on the coach, Don Nelson. Cost them a point. Celtics lead it by 3. McHale pushed to the floor by McKeskey, and he can't believe no foul was called in that situation. Cummings comes inside. No whistle at the other end, and finally Johnson hits Moncrief, and the whistle is sounded. This is like Friday night fights.
Yeah, and I would be very concerned if I was out there officiating this game. They have to call something almost every time down the court, and I think they're going to have to. Otherwise, we're going to have another flare-up, and that's no good for either team or for basketball.
We can put the ball in the middle and have a little rugby scrum and get it over with. About 30 seconds.
I'll tell you what,
play.
I'll be back a few seats if they do that.
44-43, Celtics, who are trying to wrap up the East and get a rest, while Houston and the Lakers battle away out west. They want this Eastern Conference crown, and they can get it today. Johnson on the move. He was fouled inside, and on McKeskey, his 2nd.
Now we see the ball being swung, and there's Dennis Johnson going down the lane. He got that ball up high enough where he knew he'd draw the contact and had a good chance for that 3-point play. But Paul McKeskey is not a shot blocker. And Dennis Johnson is aware of that. I'm sure that's the reason he took it all the way to the basket and didn't pull up or just shoot the jump shot immediately.
Johnson, who played in Seattle and Phoenix before coming to the Celtics. He was one of the final pieces in Red Auerbach's plan, and Don Nelson badly needs a quality big man to go out after Boston and Philadelphia in the coming years. Hodges. He has quality people on the outside like Craig Hodges, but he lacks that prime time center.
And you can just go so far in the NBA if you do not have the prime time center.
Knocked away by McKeskey, out of bounds. Boston's ball.
McKeskey has come in and given them great life. Brewer did not have it to start the ball game. Don Nelson went to McKeskey.
And Brewer didn't play well yesterday either, for that matter. We'll be right back in a moment. We are back. Celts lead the Bucks by 1, 46-45. Sunday afternoon, but and folks, it's not even Easter Sunday. Would you believe that? That belongs in Don Nelson's wardrobe. Remember what he was wearing for a tie yesterday? That's that salmon that has to swim upstream. Well, today's necktie. He gave it away last night. He said, I went out and slammed down a few beers and gave that tie away. And down in Texas, Houston and the Lakers continue to roll along in the first half of that game. And the winner, of course, will be taking on, we would think, Larry Bird and the Boston Celtics in the championship. McHale missing. McKeskey laterals it off to Hodges.
Looked like McKeskey twisted that knee again. He's got to move the ball, Cummings.
Davis, field goal. The Lakers are shooting 15% from the floor in the second period. Rockets lead it by 5. Lakers went 5 minutes without scoring. You would think the Rockets would lead by more than 5, wouldn't you? Ainge stepping inside with the field goal. Scoreless in the first period. 11 points in the second by the former Brigham Young star. 48-47. Celts leading. Here's Davis, and McHale stuffed. Goes over to the Celtics, touched by Davis. Lister returning for the Bucks. Davis didn't have much of a chance in that corner against McHale, Billy.
No, he didn't. You know, in that case, if you're a forward of the size of Charles Davis, 6'7", you're against someone 6'11", you want to use your quickness. You want to force him to react a little bit and force him to move his feet defensively.
Almost a great play. Johnson just missed Bird, who had cut in behind his man.
You would never have seen Dennis Johnson when he was in Seattle or Phoenix even think about a pass like that. That's what Larry Bird adds to this ball club. Everybody's trying to make the good pass to each other.
Moncrief up on Ainge. No playing hurt. That's 15 for Moncrief. Time remaining, first half. Bucks led at the end of the first. Bird to McHale, and the Bucks get a hand on it defensively. They were waiting for it. Hodges runs down the loose ball. Larry Bird comes up with it, and here's McHale. Nelson thinks that he committed a foul going for that ball.
Well, what happened there? The ball was loose. Larry Bird, as we saw in the opening of the game, when there's a loose ball, the first thing he does is establish position between his defensive man and the basketball. Then he'll go after the basketball.
Cummings and Bird out muscling Lister for that position. Pull down the rebound. Celts up by 1. Johnson coming inside. Whistle underneath, loose ball foul, and that's number 3 on McHale. Hey, let's take a look at Larry Bird. Let's show you what Billy C is talking about. Watch the body.
Now, here's the ball loose. First, well, that might have been a cross body in that case.
Maybe.
But he made sure that he was between the man and the ball.
Hey, they said that Ted Williams got 4 strikes. Do you think that Larry Bird gets about 7 fouls?
There's no question. In pro basketball, the stars get a little break here and there.
They should. If I paid the kind of bucks they charge for a ticket, I'd want to see Bird play the whole game.
Exactly right. You know, not a bad thought. In the old ABA days, they had a rule where after your 6th, you could continue playing. You know, if you committed a foul, it was considered a technical foul, plus the team would get the ball back.
Well, we saw Walton, speaking of fouls, replace McHale, who will sit down with 3. So we've got Sting, Bird, Walton, Johnson, Ainge on the floor against Cummings, Hodges, Moncrief, Davis, and Lister. Good game here. Bucks haven't given up. Bird and the Celtics trying to close them out and get themselves a rest. Bird would like to play a little golf before the championship series. He'll still find enough time to shoot basketballs about 4 hours a day. Hodges missing. Walton has it taken away underneath, and he goes to the floor for the loose ball. It's contagious. Here comes Johnson. Score it and put him on the line. A chance for the 3-pointer. Moncrief went down again.
Well, we see number 1. Okay, now let's watch this great hustle by Bill Walton, getting that ball out to Bird, and that's what the Celtics do. They advance the ball on the break through the air, not on the dribble. Another point with Cummings having to play Larry Bird. We see the Celtics looking to get the ball to Bird as much as possible off all sorts of screens to put the pressure on Cummings.
And that's probably why Pressey just returned to the game. Give them a little more strength there defensively. He's good defensive basketball play. You know, I'm beginning to think that this Boston Celtic team, if they stay healthy through the championship, is as good an NBA team as I've ever watched. The depth, the style of play, it's like a clinic when you watch these guys go to work. I'll tell you, youngsters should pay attention to what these guys are doing. It's not that complicated. Cummings.
Yeah, and the whole thing is based on Larry Bird. The personality that this team has is Larry Bird, and that's the way they play this game. And he just makes everybody feel part of it, and it just has become contagious with this ball team.
I mean, they think pass. I mean, Walton is looking right now for an open man. Backs in finally on Liston, goes to the turnaround. Before he did that, he was looking to see if somebody was wide open.
Well, that's one of the problems, Brent, when you play this team and you look to double down, because the first thing their big people look to do is pass.
Cummings missing. Ainge hit by Pressey accidentally. Walton coming over, fouls Moncrief. His first personal, put Moncrief on the line.
Now, we see what Don Nelson's trying to do offensively. His feeling is if he has to go to a set offense, he can't beat the Celtics, so he's looking to push it any opportunity he has.
Got a timeout, 2:40 to go. We'll be right back. Thank you. Hey, Billy, Brooklyn, I love that piece. I got to see it, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it at the half. You came out of Brooklyn. You were one of the schoolboy heroes.
Well, it was great growing up there, and basketball in Brooklyn is a way of life.
Connie Hawkins is a great star I remember from there.
Well, he was the best high school player that I ever got the chance to see, at least in Brooklyn. And to watch him play, there was much talk about the Knicks signing him right out of high school.
Well, Moncrief hitting the free throw. Interesting that the producer of that piece is Leslie Visser. She's a sports writer for the Boston Globe. A lot of folks back in that city watching. She also happens to be the wife of Dick Stockton, who is covering the Houston-Los Angeles game for us right now. We've got 2:38 to go here in the first half. It's 57-55. Celtics leading and trying to wrap it up in 4 straight. And they're trying to sweep the Bucks of Milwaukee. Beautiful cut by Seasting. Did not have shooting room, so he comes out to Ainge. Lister rebounding to miss. Pressey, loose ball. Bird's with it.
What a play by Dennis Johnson.
Johnson looking for an open man. Seasting wheels it to Ainge, who gets inside on the penetration.
You know, K.C. Jones just does such a great job. Number one, by not overcoaching. When you have a team that moves the ball the way this team does, the worst thing he could do, in my opinion, is to overcoach and call too many set plays.
Here's Bird. He's another coach out on the floor. 59-55. And out, a home run distance by Bird.
Larry Bird has played this whole first half.
Moncrief, that jump hook inside, and it was good if it goes. He'll shoot a pair, and Brewer due to check back in for the Bucks.
That's Dennis Johnson's 3rd foul.
Number 45, Randy Brewer.
Randy Brewer.
That's an excellent.
At Minnesota. Checking back in.
Excuse me, Brent. But that's an excellent substitution by Don Nelson, because we only have 1:23 left. Lister, who we've talked about having foul trouble.
How come you never say it's a bad substitution? How come all you coaches hang together?
Okay, I'm going to criticize him. Next half, we're going to jump all over both of them. We've talked about his clothing. We've abused him that way. You know, KC and Don Nelson also played 5 years together on a few world championship teams of the Celtics.
Those great guys. Ainge coming to the right and swinging it back into the middle on the run. He's feeling it here in a second. That's 15 second period points by Ainge, and he also got Pierce out of the game.
I know. It just seemed like after that confrontation with Pierce, he has just been lighting it up at both ends of the court.
Hodges. 6 points for Hodges. You know, I thought he had more. It seems like he's put in about 5 or 6 field goals.
You know why that happens so often when you're watching a game and you see those long jump shots? They stand out a little bit more instead of the play inside.
Johnson in a collision with Pressey, and Walton is assessed the personal. Pressey went to the floor.
Now I want you to watch something right here. Walton coming over to set the screen. Now this is Dennis Johnson's fault, okay, for not allowing Bill Walton to really establish that good position and then come off the screen.
Pressey's three-pointer is way short, and it'll go over. Austin's ball.
These two
and
teams
quickly Seasting comes back.
That's exactly right. They're really going up and down the court in this second period, especially Boston with this small lineup. There's the double, which we haven't seen much of.
Off Walton's hands, out of bounds. Brewers, first personal.
1,045, Randy Brewer, his first.
You know, when I coached against Larry Bird, the one thing I feared more than anything was his ability to get all his teammates involved and get them going at the offensive end of the court. So we put a great burden on either Julius Erving or Bobby Jones in most cases to have to go head-to-head with him. And we had one philosophy, too. We tried to deny him the ball anytime he was on the court.
Well, we see that K.C. Jones is going to give us a fresh face. That's David Thirdkill. Played college basketball at Bradley. Thirdkill replaces Johnson. He's out there with Seasting and Ainge, Walton and Bird.
You think he feels like he died and went to heaven? He was cut by Detroit, and there he is playing for the Boston Celtics.
Just send the winner's share.
Yeah. He was drafted #1 by the Phoenix Suns a few years ago. Excellent defensive ball play.
Well, Pressey's three-pointer is short. The Bucks are getting very impatient here as time runs out in the first half. And Boston, needing one win to get to another NBA final, leads by 4. And they have 2 periods to go. Pat O'Brien coming up in a moment. Staff in the Mecca, that's the difference. It's 2 field goals difference right there, and that's the point total, 55-46. Second period guard scoring. What's interesting there, Ainge was scoreless in the first, comes on and gets 15 in the second. Moncrief had 14 for the Bucks in that second period. Turnovers, Milwaukee 6, and that's not like Larry Bird to have a number like that.
No, it isn't. But, you know, here's another example how the Celtics can beat you. In Game 3, Robert Parrish scored 28 points. Today, in the first half, he was in foul trouble with 3, but only had 1 field goal attempt and has 4 points for the first half. Now, Danny Ainge, who struggled yesterday, he comes out and he's got 15 in this first half. It's a tough team to prepare for and make some decisions on how you're going to stop them.
Johnson, Bird, Ainge, McHale and Parrish come down against Moncrief, Pressey, Brewer, Cummings and Hodges. Parrish battles and regains control and comes up over Cummings, missing the shot, goes after the rebound. He and Brewer to the floor. Brewer saves it for Milwaukee. Here's Hodges. Jump pass by Cummings to Moncrief, and Bird slaps the ball away out of bounds.
Looked like Larry Bird hurt his finger in slapping that ball free from Moncrief.
Cummings missing, and Ainge laying it down for the Celtics, who are up by 4 as we start the second half.
Cummings has had a problem. Anytime there's a hand in his face, it's usually McHale. And when you're talking about with someone with the long arms like his, it's tough.
Parrish has it knocked away. Cummings goes to save it into the hands of Moncrief, who gets it to Hodges, and here's Pressey.
That was great hustle by Cummings and Moncrief to save that possession.
Cummings. Parrish takes a blow from Cummings. And for Cummings, his 3rd foul.
Brent, that was frustration, missing the last 2 shots down the court. And that one was one that Terry Cummings 9 out of 10 times is going to knock in. It's just frustration.
Moncrief picking up Johnson high, as Nelson told Pat O'Brien he was going to do here in the second half.
Well, when you do put that extra pressure on the passer, you're allowed to, you can front inside.
McHale missing the tap in of his miss. Ainge with 17.
Well, we see a Celtic team that's come out of the locker room very aggressive, and it's been evident on the offensive boards.
Lakers up by 1. They start the second half. Lakers trailing Houston 2 victories to 1. Game 5 back in Los Angeles Wednesday night. It'll be on CBS 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 here in the Central Time Zone. McHale is off the Bird.
If Paul Pressey could ever get himself to be a consistent jump shooter, he would be truly a great player in this league. But that's the one problem that he has, is shooting that perimeter jump shot consistently.
Johnson. Milwaukee uses an early timeout. The opening minutes of the third period are so critical in a situation like this, and the Celtics have opened up an 8-point lead. Well, the Celtics and the Red Sox are both New England institutions. The Celtics closing in on an Eastern Conference title, and the Red Sox run their record to 23-13, 5-4 over the Texas Rangers, so they will continue to lead the American League's Eastern Division. But that report at halftime is not good. Al Nipper injuring his knee. The Red Sox pitching staff off to a brilliant start, paced by Roger Clemens. Cummings coming up over Ainge with a field goal, his first in the second half, 13 points.
What we saw there is a little screen between Hodges and Cummings, and that created the mismatch, and Cummings just jumped over Danny Ainge for that jump shot.
Parrish holding on to the ball, now putting it to the floor. Wrap-around layup. Here's Cummings. Missing and Lister tapping it in. And K.C. Jones is unhappy with Robert Parrish at both ends.
Well, what happened, Robert Parrish, after he went for that hoop, tripped over the backstop and was not able to get back and pick up Lister, who was able to tip that missed shot in by Cummings.
And an 8-point lead shrinks to 4. Parrish misses, rebounded Cummings. Moncrief. McHale going for the rebound. Gets it to Johnson.
When I see Sidney Moncrief pull up for that jump shot, that tells me he's hurting.
Parrish is taking a shot every trip down the floor, and the rest of the Celtics are not going to like that.
Well, we see it at one end where Cummings is taking just about everything. You see at the other end, Parrish.
That's not the way the Celtics win. Moncrief. Bird rebounding.
You see Bird that time, he just had his left hand out, making sure Lister couldn't get in for the rebound, and grabbed it with the right hand. Those are little things that you really have to keep an eye on Larry Bird. And if you ever get a chance to go see him play, just try and watch him when he's away from the basketball and what he does.
Parrish again shooting and missing. I thought McHale was looking for anybody that time, but he finally went to Parrish. And from the corner, a two-pointer by Hodges cuts the lead in half, and K.C. Jones will take a timeout. The Celtics are only 2 of 10 shooting here in period number 3. When we come back, I'll bet we'll see a different Celtic offense. Johnson. Robert Parrish 0 for 5 from the field this period as the Celtics come down with Moncrief picking up the ball and Pressey going with Bird.
I wouldn't be surprised. You said you thought they'd go to a different offense. I wouldn't be surprised to see them come back to Parrish. But I was wrong again.
McHale.
Kevin McHale.
The reason I said that is this Celtic team possibly trying to get some confidence.
It didn't go anyway. He said no, and that is the 4th personal on Johnson.
But as I was saying, to try and get that confidence for Robert Parrish, and I'm giving him a little pat on the back and say, hey, Robert, we're coming right back to you. But obviously, K.C. Jones knew his team very well, getting the ball to the field.
Hodges, three-pointer. 68-67 after the 3 by Hodges.
The other thing is that's surprising is though Larry Bird has not handled the basketball very much. He's really been involved in the offense, standing on the perimeter.
Parrish continuing to miss in period number 3.
And a big reason is Cummings is forcing him a step further out.
And Pressey hits. The Bucks 5 straight points. 15 for Pressey in the game, and Milwaukee with a 1-point lead at the 6:26 mark. Period number 3. Trying to hold off a sweep.
Now they're going to Larry Bird right now, looking to isolate him down low.
Cummings to help out defensively. On the turnover, it goes to the Bucks.
Well, that's the first time we've seen in these 2 games where they've been able to create a turnover when Larry Bird is isolated down low with the basketball. It usually ends up with a good shot or an easy layup.
Hey, Billy, that's 6 turnovers by Bird.
Looking to create the mismatch. That's what they have.
Cummings puts it on the run against McHale. Beautiful left-handed running shot by Terry Cummings. That's a pretty play.
As I mentioned before, Terry Cummings last year would only drive to the baseline, and getting to the routines would force him to the middle. Now you see how he's developed that part of his game, getting to the middle.
Johnson missing, and there was Ainge on the other side of the glass. The men in green are where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, we've seen that with Larry Bird, you know, picking up a few loose balls. Dennis Johnson. Oh!
That's the third on Bird. He slammed Moncrief.
Watch this. Just stick out the elbow. How you doing, Sidney? Where you going for dinner afterwards?
Oh, did I hit him? Oh, I'm sorry, Sidney. I didn't know anybody was coming through. Hey, Dave Cowens used to take some wax in there, didn't he?
Well,
What a great player for the Celtics. Let's see. Yanked off by Walton into the hands of Ainge. Bucks are back defensively. Seasting hits Walton. Bird comes around. Tapped away from McHale. Here's McHale again inside.
He is such a great basketball player. I mean, he truly plays both ends of the court.
Bird coming away with the rebound. Boston up by that point at the 4:40 mark. There's Walton, who has replaced Parrish. What a backup center. Bill Walton. A lot of folks thought his career was over. Of course, out with the Clippers, he was doing too much coaching. Here, if he tried that with the Celtics, Bird had hit him alongside the head.
He sure would.
Moncrief. That's 22.
Well, if we gave a most courageous award for this series, it'd have to go to Sidney Moncrief.
Diving for the loose ball off Walton. It goes to the Bucks. Mokeski checks in for Nelson. Cummings takes a break. They have to watch Cummings's rest because of that heart condition. They don't want to get him past a certain level where fatigue begins to truly affect his game. Remarkable story that he's able to play basketball at all.
It appears to me when he plays more than 35 minutes, his production really drops off.
That was the second personal on Ainge. He and Moncrief with contact on that side.
Now we see David Thurkill in there replacing Larry Bird. He's an excellent defensive ball player.
Bucks shooting for the lead. Mokeski gives it to them.
Now that's a big shot for the Bucks because someone's going to have to come out and play him. When he gets it going, he's an excellent perimeter shooter.
There was contact. Lister complaining that should have been a 3-second violation called.
Now, I'll tell you what, Joey Crawford, I think, is one of the best young officials in the league, but it looks like he's almost looking to call something on Alton Lister.
Seasting, short. Bucks ball. They also have a 1-point lead.
Because I thought that last time down, Brent, McHale created more of that contact, and we saw the last time down the court in the first, in the first half where they called that foul on Lister with McHale before.
There was a whistle and crowd noise. Oh, that was what it was. A timeout was called. We got a timeout. We'll be right back. We'll keep you up to the minute on that score now. We've got 2:40 to go here in the third period. Seasting. Mokeski is off. Here's Hodges. An up-tempo basket by the Bucks.
Oh, that's a heck of a play by Hodges. He's not known to take someone one-on-one and shoot over them, but he does. He might be an inch bigger than Jerry Seastings, which is something he rarely sees.
Here's Walton.
Fine move by Walton to the middle.
2 minutes in the third.
Moncrief. Ainge. McHale blocked beautifully from behind by Moncrief.
Oh, he's something.
Pressing. Lister saves it. Pressing on the
Oh, boy,
put him
oh,
up
boy.
at the free throw line.
I want you to describe this one to me, Brent.
Well, here is one that no coach ever diagrammed for anybody. It was pure athletic ballet movement by Pressing. And he'll come to the line, a chance for a three-pointer.
You know, I knew he'd miss that shot because he hesitated. When he had that open shot, he's got to go up and look for that shot every time. I don't care if he misses the next 5 in a row. I know Don Nelson wants him to shoot those good open jump shots.
Back to Walton off the pick and roll. They turn it over. Mokeski. Third kill. Ainge. It's a fast pace right now. Closing minutes of period number 3. Celtics down by 4. McHale wants to go to work. Mokeski fouled him.
That's not.
Sidney Moncrief. Now that is the right foot, an ankle that he injured yesterday. It is the left arch which has troubled him throughout the playoffs. So they are going to retape that ankle over on the side. Yesterday he was unable to play much down the stretch because of it. Lister sits down alongside Cummings. Parrish checks in, and Parrish will go. McHale will take a break.
That was a good foul by McKeskey. McHale had the good inside position. They can take a foul here in the last minute and not go to the and not allow Boston to go to the foul line.
Parrish puts it on the floor. He's had a period he'd like to forget. Ainge with a leaner hits it going to the floor.
Now, Danny Ainge has gotten a few offensive rebounds this period. Now, watch this. He reads where Hodges is. Hodges hits him low on the hip, and banks it in. That young man is really blossoming into an outstanding basketball player. And when he first came into the league, you know, there was so much talk about him and his great career of Brigham Young. A lot of question marks, but you see the Celtics had that confidence in him. And with time and patience, he's gained that great confidence.
Mokeski muscling into Parrish and Walton. The foul called against Boston. I thought Mokeski was a little bit out of control. Let's see who they give this personal foul to. Is it going to be Walton or Parrish? I think it's Parrish.
Well,
do we get that confirmed? Yes. Yes, that's the 4th personal on Parrish.
Well, what McKeskey did is as soon as he received the ball, he knew where his defensive man was and was able to create that contact and draw the foul.
See, McKeskey was leaning. Parrish seemed to have position on the play, I thought.
Yeah, he had pretty good position, but it doesn't matter what we think. It's those guys with the whistles.
What do you mean it doesn't matter what we think?
Well, they didn't listen to us. He still got that 4th foul.
30 seconds. Parrish out high. He will definitely try to burn this period from his mind. Seasting with a quick move. Gets it to 3rd kill. And 3rd kill missed the building.
He almost threw it out the door.
Mokeski tripped, so it is 4 on 5. Mokeski coming back in. And Reynolds, their #1 draft choice, seeing his first action of the weekend as we come to the end of the third period. Milwaukee leading 82-79, and the Bucks have got a chance to hold off a sweep. We'll be right back.
Yesterday, he only had 1 timeout. Now he has 4.
Now we've got Brewer back, getting the ball inside to Reynolds. And that #1 draft choice for the Milwaukee Bucks, Jerry Reynolds, scoring the field goal. He played at Louisiana State. He's picking up Ainge. Parrish is out there along with Walton, and the return of Larry Bird. Loose. Parrish, who struggled in that third period. He was 0 of 7. Ainge's 3-pointer is on the money.
Short goal by Danny Ainge.
And a pushing foul called. It's on Davis. That's his second.
What we're going to see is a 4-point play. See the 3 by Ainge and Larry Bird going to the foul line.
And it has been throughout the playoffs almost automatic, although Bird did miss one after 33 straight yesterday. Now there's the shot.
Right there on the left-hand side of your screen, Davis trying to keep Larry Bird off the boards.
And the 4-point play by the Celtics reduces this lead to a point. Meanwhile, Houston up 3 on the Lakers. They are still in the third period. They're behind us. Hodges. That's a 2-point try, missing. Barry's saving it. Bird off a fake and a run back to Parrish. He took no chances that time. The Chief said there'll be no missing the hoop with this baby.
The way he shot in the third period, you're exactly right. He was taking no chances.
Davis loses it. Boston's ball. Parrish came up with it near the end line. Here's Ainge. Celts leading on. They turn it back over. Davis coming through with the left hand, missed the layup.
That was a smart play by Robert Parrish. With 4 fouls, he just let Davis know that he was there and put a little indecision in his mind, and he never finished off that left-handed layup.
Now it's Walton's turn. He'll come to the free throw line.
Well, I tell you, I would not be surprised to see Don Nelson call a timeout if they don't get a field goal next time down the court, because this Celtic team is ready to end this in 4.
Yeah, the Celtics turned it up against Nelson yesterday, and they're doing the same thing here this afternoon. You can feel it.
Yeah, and the question is, do the Bucks have that extra gear? Are they able to turn it up an extra notch?
Let me reset the Milwaukee lineup since there were some changes. Davis stays out there along with Hodges. Then it's Pressey, Cummings, and Brewer. Cummings is the athlete to watch for Milwaukee. Moncrief bothered by an injured ankle on the right leg and troubled arch on the left foot. Sitting Don Nelson's bench. Cummings has to be their main scorer. He missed that shot. Bird gets it into Ainge's hands.
Left-handed outlet pass. Now this reminds me so much of yesterday, though. It was seeing that difficulty for Milwaukee to get a good shot off, and this Celtic team just revving it up.
Ainge banked down by Cummings.
They've got to push it to get that easy opportunity shot, because the set defense of the Celtics has just been awesome in the start of this fourth period.
Davis is not helping the Bucks at all. I'm surprised Nelson hasn't substituted for him.
Well, that's one of the problems when you're without Pierce, though, Brent. You know, he cannot go as deep as he'd like to. We don't know the actual condition of Sidney Moncrief. He's coming back in, but is he a healthy Sidney Moncrief?
Meanwhile, Bird bangs in 2 more. The Celtics go up by 5, and there's that timeout by Nelson that you fully expected. He'll bring the Bucks over. It's 89-84. Yesterday, the Celts tied it at 90 and were never headed. We'll return to the Mecca in Milwaukee after these messages from your local stations.
The key for the Bucks, Brent. Yesterday, what we saw is the Celtics at this point of the game were able to get it inside to their big people and score almost at will. They're going to have to do the job there, get out and run, create a few turnovers to get their confidence back offensively.
Celtics on a 10-2 run so far in the fourth. Davis, and that time he bangs it in. Boy, that's a smart move that he left him on the floor.
Oh, boy. But, you know, the thing he did, though, differently, though, Brent, is there was patience at the set offensive event. You know, they're looking to push it and create some opportunities, but he was forcing some tough shots.
And Parrish contributing again. A couple of big field goals by Parrish here.
Well, as I said, same thing. We saw the problem with the Bucks in the fourth period yesterday, not able to contain the inside play of the Boston Celtics.
Pressing, three-pointer, scored.
Explain to me how a guy can't hit a 10-foot jump shot. He's missed about 6 of them, and he goes out and hits a three-pointer with a hand in his face.
Parrish. Pressey came flying at him. Parrish with 3 field goals here in the fourth and a total of 10 points. A complete turnaround in the third period by Parrish.
This is an example how confident they are as a ball club. They never abandoned what they wanted to do to start the second half. They wanted to go to Robert Parrish, and we see them continuing with that concept here in the fourth period.
Cummings gets it back to Davis. Short. And a loose ball foul. It's against Milwaukee. That's Cummings' fourth. Celtics will take it out on the side. 3 team fouls against the Bucks and none against the Celtics. Walton sits down. So it's McHale, Parrish, and Bird up front. Ainge and Johnson at the backcourt. Celtics starting 5.
You know, it's hard to believe that the Celtics, they're so deep and so good that you can allow a Kevin McHale, who's playing great, to sit on the bench for 9 minutes.
Now that ball, according to Rush, was hit by Milwaukee.
Excuse me, he sat around 7 minutes.
Cummings, and it's an offensive foul as Parrish attempted to push off his 5th personal foul.
What Parrish should have done is taken a step out instead of extending his left arm to receive that pass.
Meanwhile, down Houston way, I wonder what's going on with the Rockets. Lakers, there it is, 82-79. Rockets still maintaining that slim lead. Hale put his arms up. Got the ball out of bounds. Milwaukee's ball. Hodges will replace Davis. Lister puts it on the floor. Jumps up on Parrish. Hit by Boston. Bucks ball again. Timeout. At the 6:55 mark, 93-89, Celtics will return. Three years ago, the Milwaukee Bucks, coached by Don Nelson, swept away the Boston Celtics, who were then coached by Bill Fitch, 4 in a row. Larry Bird and several of the Celtics have never forgotten that. It was the most embarrassing time of Larry Bird's professional career. He would like nothing better than to sweep away the Bucks in this series. The Celtics are up 93-89. That also was the last time that Fitch coached the Celtics. He is down in Houston trying to upset the Lakers, and wouldn't that be an interesting confrontation with Fitch showing up with Olajuwon and Sampson against the Celtics, who from the field are hitting 83% and defensively are holding the Bucks to 33%.
Last time after a timeout, they looked to go inside to Cummings.
3-pointer by Hodges, and Lister taps it in.
Well, you get 3 opportunities on the offensive boards in one possession. It's got to hurt you.
Billy, how about Bird? He's only scored 3 points, and McHale 4 here in the second half. McHale traveled. What about those two?
Well, the key is Larry Bird has only one interest in this game, and that's helping the Celtics win. So if things are going, if they need him offensively down the stretch, you know he'll be there. Tough
Cummings
shot.
misfiring on the turnaround. That could have tied it.
I don't think he can score against Kevin McHale and down low in that shooting that shot, because McHale has that size advantage in the long arms, and he's such an outstanding defensive ball.
Bird over Pressey. Lister rebounding. Here's Moncrief. Quick move by Pressey. Lister couldn't tap it in, and it's off into the hands of Bird. There were a lot of hands up on that cylinder when the ball was up there, weren't there?
Well, when you're playing well and things are going for yourself, they drop in.
Johnson. And a personal foul is called on Cummings. That'll be his 5th.
That is 5 on Cummings. 4 on the Bucks. At the line is number 3, Dennis Johnson.
All right, Dick, here in the Mecca in Milwaukee with Dennis Johnson at the free throw line. The Celtics leading the Milwaukee Bucks 93, make it 94-91. That's a 3-point lead with 5.5 minutes to go. And Billy Cunningham, what about the Bucks' chances to hold off a sweep?
Well, I think that a couple things have to happen. They're going to have to do the job defensively, and they're going to have to get out and get some opportunities in a breaking situation, because the Celtic defense at this stage and time of the game really tightens up.
They lead it by 4. Let's send many of you back Houston way. Nick Stockton and Tommy Heinz. Moncrief coming inside through the foul, and that's number 5 on Johnson.
Now, if we would see Dennis Johnson foul out of this basketball game, I'll tell you right now, they're going to be posting up Sidney Moncrief every time down the court, because he's going to have an advantage strength-wise against Danny Ainge or size-wise against Jerry Seastings. And with the action of Scott Wedman, they can't match up physically inside against Sidney Moncrief.
Moncrief, Billy, has scored 22 here this afternoon. He's also dished out 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 10 of 12. Not bad for a guy with 2 injured legs.
Bob Ryan did an article on Larry Bird and his 3-point shooting, and he asked him, what time of the game do you like to shoot it? And he said, well, we're up around 3-5 points when it's around 4 minutes left, just to break the heart of the opponent, so don't be surprised.
Bird missing, taken off by Lister, and here comes Moncrief. Gets it into the hands of Hodges on a spinner. Goes out of bounds and goes over to the Celtics at the 4:57 mark. Celts up by 3. And there's an offensive foul called, and that's going to be it on Johnson. He fouls out at the 4:40 mark.
Oh, and Dennis Johnson's giving the official, Joe Crawford, the sign of choking. And you don't do that to Joey Crawford. He'll call a T on you.
Johnson goes to the bench. Robert Parrish also coming in.
Now this is an interesting lineup. This moves Bird to the backcourt with Ainge, with a front line of McHale, Walton, and Parrish.
Well, there's some trees out there for the Celtics. Milwaukee only 4 of 14 from the floor. Cummings has hit only 3 of his last 14. Moncrief getting inside, drawing the personal foul.
Now, Brent, offensively, if I'm Don Nelson, I would have to be thinking about trying to get the ball in the hands of Sidney Moncrief about the top of the circle, looking for him to create something for himself or a teammate, with Larry Bird guarding him, because he is quicker than Larry Bird.
Who has just assessed his 4th personal foul. That is loose ball, so change the team foul to 3 on the Celtics, 4 on the Bucks at the 4:27 mark. Moncrief's 3-pointer off. Ainge rebounding.
A little surprising, taking that quick shot by Sidney Moncrief.
Parrish gets it back to Bird, who takes a three-pointer of his own.
What I tell you, that's the time he loves to shoot it.
Hey, how come it's too early for Moncrief and not for Bird?
Did you see him at the All-Star game hit 11 in a row in the three-point contest?
Sometimes too early for Larry Bird. We got timeout. We'll be right back. Milwaukee bench cheering on this team, trying to keep them alive. You know, the Celtics could be even better next year. They got the second choice in the draft, but they're at the salary cap. Billy, what's the chances of the Celtics not being able to sign that draft pick?
I guarantee you they'll get him, Brendan. The odds probably around 5,000 to 40 to 1.
Yanked away by Parrish. That's a number that's going to stick with me for a long time. Lakers trailing by 8. Hello, Houston. Better get the golf courses ready down there for the championship series. Here comes Ainge. Gets it to Walton. Bird's three-pointer. Oh, he bangs in another one.
Do you love him?
Oh, you got
You know, he's the guy when you coach against him, you really despise him. But boy, I tell you what, I would have given my left arm to coach him.
Look at that great block, and they call the foul. What a terrible call that is. It was a beautiful block by Larry Bird. Watch him stick with Sidney Moncrief. Look at that. It was all ball. I got to boo that one myself.
Do you love him?
That was a great block. Well, that's one way to keep Milwaukee in.
Now watch this. He knows he's beat. It's such a smart player, and reacts that way to block that shot.
He scored 22 points. Walton hitting McHale, gets it back, and Ainge wants it. 7-point Celtic lead, 3-11. He'll go again. Gets it to Parrish. Oh, just simply blew the shot.
You realize the different lineups that Casey Jones has used today? 3 guards, 2 big people, 4 big people, 1 guard. What flexibility. Oh, baby, what's up?
Lister and Bird going for the ball. And there's a personal foul called on Lister, his 4th. 5, and they go over the limit. And let's bring Bird down here to the free throw line.
You know, you made such a great comment a little while ago, probably the first one all year that we're working together, when you mentioned that Larry Bird was not involved in the offense. And then all of a sudden it was time. And he said, okay, guys, let's stop playing make-believe. Let's get this over. And, you know, a reason I'm sure Casey Jones discussed it with his team is, hey, we don't want to play a 5th game. For one big reason, anything can happen. Now, we saw yesterday with Scott Webben going down. Suppose they had to go to the 5th game, and that man at the foul line was in that position, and he was lost to the Celtics. That would have been their season, and they have one goal to win another championship.
Yeah, what Red Auerbach say to us on the telephone? You win it as soon as you can, every time out.
Yeah, and then you worry about the problem of having 10 to 12 days of rest. What a great problem as a coach.
Right. Cummings, short. McHale got it off. Did you hear somebody yell, short, Kevin, short? So he knew how the rebound might react.
It's called communication.
Bird gets it into the hands of Ainge. Jump pass for McHale. And it goes to Milwaukee. Milwaukee has missed 6 shots in a row. Walton taking Cummings. Moncrief in low. Missing off Bird. Comes up with it. And it'll be a jump ball. One story I want to report that's making the rounds. Stan Albeck reportedly out as coach of the Chicago Bulls. There is a report in the Chicago Tribune that they will make that official next week. And the leading candidate is one of our colleagues, Doug Collins. Do you think Doug would like to coach, Billy?
Well, I would. He does such a great job for CBS doing the college games and the pro games. I would advise him, after my experiences, to stay where he is because he's got a great future in this. But I think he has a burning desire to be a coach because, and I'll tell you, I played with him, I coached him. it would be a great one.
Another home run by Larry Bird. It's history, folks. It's 106.94 at the 140 mark. There's no way Bird's going to be denied. He wants this one in 4 and out, no doubt about it. We'll be back.
Is it every time?
Well, if he does it here quickly, some of our fans might get a little bonus coverage down Houston way. We'll have to wait and see what's going to happen there. 1:30 to go in this game. McHale colliding with Pressey, and that's the 4th on Kevin McHale.
I'll tell you, Brent, we know the Celtics are going to be going to the finals. And if I was preparing against this team, I think there's one thing you have to do. What Kevin? Kevin McHale said to me, he said that after that foul, he said, that's why I got out of coaching. And I think he's right. But I think one thing you have to do against them is you have to really look to run. If you allow them to set their defense, they are just unbelievable because they're so smart. They play so well together. The one thing is they might not be the quickest team afoot getting back defensively. But I don't know what else you can do against them. And defensively against them, just so many tough decisions. I think the biggest problem the Celtics are going to have is that 10, 12-day layoff. Are they going to be able to come back at the intensity level that they're leaving us with right here today?
McHale miss it. Yeah, you know what, Billy? That'll probably affect them for about 1/2.
No, I'll tell you what, Brent, we had that problem last year. We beat Milwaukee 4 in a row. Then we had to go against the Celtics. We never were the same team.
Parrish finally pulls it away here, and inside the 1-minute mark, the Celtics wrapping it up in 4. They lead it by 10. Some of the crowd starting to head for the exits here. I would guess that the crowd will still give the Bucks a big ovation. Moncrief, who has played on sheer guts and heart here this afternoon with 27 points. Despite those injuries, he played the last 3 games of this series, and he certainly deserves it. Big ovation for the crowd for how hard he's tried as Lister came over on Parrish.
Well, the one thing I'd like to do is compliment the people in the truck, especially Bob Stenner and Bob Fishman, the great job they've done, and what a great pleasure it's been for me to work with them and to work with you, Brent. It's just been a slice of heaven.
Billy C., it's been nice having you along. You sure are a lot more relaxed than you were last year over there on the sidelines in Philadelphia.
Yeah, but I truly enjoyed what I did.
Well, we look forward to Game 1 of the NBA Final. I know you and Hubie Brown will be there with me, and I know you look forward to renewing that acquaintance. You and Hubie can exchange stories of the past. 27 seconds, and the Celts have done it. You know, I really hope that whoever survives in the West can really give the Celtics a war. I'm beginning to wonder if anybody can stick with this team.
Truthfully,
they're awfully good.
I don't think anybody can beat the Celtics. And I believe that it goes 5 games. You know, I thought today that this Milwaukee team, because of the heart they had, would be able to come back and beat the Celtics today. But they just were not able to do it.
Here it is, a 3-pointer from Bird.
Walks off the court.
He was scoreless in the 3rd quarter. He scores 17 points in the 4th. Celtics win it 111 to 98. They win it by 13 points and a sweep for K.C. Jones. I'll tell you what, let's do. Let's make K.C. Jones the most valuable Celtic today. He doesn't get a lot of credit. They've got such great players and a terrific bench. Bird's the best in the game. Walton comes off the bench as they go inside that locker room. Let's do it for K.C. Jones today, Billy C. I think he has meant so much to this group of athletes. He handles them in just the right manner.
Yeah, and he gets his points across. All the players love him, but most importantly, they respect him.
Exactly. Chris Ford coming on inside that Celtic locker room. Jimmy Rogers, certainly he will be given an opportunity someday in the NBA.
Yeah, Larry Bird, unbelievable.
So the men who got the job done. Little ovation there for Larry Bird. Again, he was scoreless in the third. 17 in that fourth quarter. And he was not to be denied. I told you that he wanted that sweep. He still has not forgotten what the Bucks did to him 3 years ago, Billy.
Yeah.